Welcome to the Greenery.
These next two varieties of Colocaceas are actually planted in planters, not in the water feature. So these are really tall, narrow planters where we've got an assortment of sort of more shade-loving plants, or half-day sun, half-day shade. Again, we've got the shade closet here, which allows 50% of the sunlight through. So a really good lighting for the Colocaceas. So this variety here to my left, this is called Black Beauty. So it's almost a cross between two other varieties, the Black Magic and the Lusters. You've got still the really nice black look, a little bit glossier, but you do recognize the green sort of toning coming through the veins. And the other variety here that's used in our planter situation is called Mojito. So again, we've used these as a centerpiece in our planters. So again, a nice mixture of sort of shade-loving tropical type plants, and the Colocasia has been put in the center as a nice centerpiece to give the some top growth and the nice big leaves sort of come over top. And this variety, again, very unique. Actually only 3 years old, only 3 years on the market. Again, called Mojito, and it's looks like basically a cross between the Chartreuse Elena and the black-leafed Black Magic, and you get this mottled look, speckling throughout the leaf. Sometimes it can be a little inconsistent where you may get a bigger blotch of black or green, but this leaf here, this example here, is quite uniform. A little side note here is a cool little plant in here, these red disc-like flowers. It's called the shrimp plant. It's becoming very popular. Hard to sell early on because it doesn't have these beautiful flowers on it. It just has sort of these small green leaves on a sort of skinny looking plant. So I just wanted to mention it. Let's break this off and see. That's why it's called the shrimp plant, because of the this look here, and you get these little white flares coming out the tips, which is actually the flower. This is just stacked up leaves that have turned color, turned red, and the little white flares coming out the front would actually be the flower. The next type of plant I want to talk about is Cyperus, specifically Cyperus Papyrus. Now, we've got it in the pond here behind us, but it grew so tall that it's hard to film, so we just cut some stalks off of it to show you and talk a little bit more about this very versatile plant. Again, can go in the water feature, as I mentioned, but also in a planter as a centerpiece, full sun to half-day sun. Just a really unique plant. So here we've got 3 stalks that we cut off the main plant from the water feature. Just shows you the progression of maturity on the head. So that's a fresher stalk that's come out, and then a middle stage, and then that's what it will develop into, this huge head. And so given the name Cyperus Papyrus, or giant papyrus plant. And this is where the Egyptian papyrus comes from, or is made from. Again, if you're interested in doing it yourself, it would be a cool project with the kids. Just go online. It is about a 3-day process, but I mean, I can just give you the quick pointers here on film. But they simply skin this green portion off the stalks, and inside is a nice white fleshy material, which is cut into small strips, and the bulk of the juices are rolled out of it, and then they're laid in a pattern perpendicular to each other. So you just simply lay these strips, overlapping them a little bit, going one direction and then the other direction, and then there's a drying process and all that involved. But that's kind of where it comes from, is the meaty portion inside the stalks. And there's a natural sticky fluid that is in this flesh, and that's what actually glues it together. So you're not using any extra glue or anything like that. It just glues itself together and becomes paper. Just wanted to also mention there is a dwarf version of the giant papyrus. It's simply dwarf giant papyrus. So the giant term actually is given from the large head that is located on top. So if we look down below here, this is the dwarf version. So again, you still get the giant heads forming on the top, but just overall a shorter specimen. This example here is in a little water bowl. So we've simply got it in the center with some other little floaters around the outside. Just a very simple kind of modern look, and works well though again as a centerpiece in planters planted in potting mix with other plants around the outside also. So for a little shorter look, you can go with the dwarf giant papyrus. Here we're standing amongst a few varieties of ornamental bananas. These are really nice large specimen plants with dramatic foliage. They can be used in planters as a centerpiece or in a mixed bed like this. It can be grown in full sun to half-day sun. Here we've got, again, they're located in our pergola area, so we've got the shade cloth, so it's a nice filtered light location. My far right here, the really tall one, that is Ensete maurelii, or red leaf maurelii. And as you can see, we've taken a leaf off just to show you a little bit easier. But beautiful bright red edging to the leaf, and nice red midrib, and one of the fastest growing varieties of ornamental banana. We find though that this variety does best in that filtered light situation or half-day sun, half-day shade. In full sun, when we've grown it there, the richness of the red doesn't seem to be as bright and glossy. It does dull a little bit. So for this variety, just keep that in mind. Filtered light, half-day sun, half-day shade would be best. Now, next one here, this is Ensete ventricosum, and big dramatic leaf, like I was saying earlier. Does have a nice red midrib, especially on the back. I'm just gonna take this lead off here to show you that. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? The next two varieties we want to talk about are both classed as hardy bananas or hardy ornamental bananas. So we're actually going to leave them in this bed over winter. Simply just put 6 to 8 inches mulch down around the crown, and they will overwinter in our climate here in the Okanagan. So the other two we were talking about are strictly true annuals. Maybe try and bring them in, treat them as an annual tropical inside, but these two, believe it or not, can stay outdoors in the ground just with a bit of mulch. The one on my left here is Nucella laciocarpa, or the Chinese banana. And I mean, a little more ordinary looking with the foliage, no dramatic red midrib or anything like that, but just a nice solid tropical look to it. And if you're able to overwinter it for more than 1 year, you will get a very large yellow flower developing in the center of it, and that's what makes it kind of unique compared to some of the other varieties. The one on my right, this is the most popular selling ornamental banana because of its hardiness, and it's simply called Musa Baju, or the hardy banana. And again, very simple looking, green leaves, very nice stalk to it. Has a real strong glossy stalk, and the leaves are kind of all up top on it. So that's what I like about it, especially if you've got it in a planter, because you've got lots of room underneath it to put other blooming annuals. And this one does really well in the full sun. But mainly grown because of its hardiness. Again, by putting that mulch on, you're protecting the soil a little bit from the frost, and if you can get it to overwinter, they will multiply, so you get suckers coming out of the ground, and year after year you'll have more and more stalks developing, and you can end up having this little tropical jungle look in a certain part of your yard. Okay. What should I do? What?
You look like you're like...
I'm in the jungle.
Where's your machete?
there.